Hi everyone, Katrina here. I am here with a very special edition of Laugh Loves Local, and today we're talking about the value of perseverance. I'm here with competitive cyclist Cody, and he has one heck of a story to tell you. So Cody, you about 4 years ago in 2021, was it? Yeah, 2021, you were experiencing some shortness of breath, and talk us through what happened during that period.
Yeah, so I've been dealing with some shortness of breath, nothing debilitating, but it was enough that it prompted a visit to my doctor's office to kind of say, okay, let's get to the bottom of this.
And this was after a decade of high performance sport.
Cross-country running, track and field, and then moving into road cycling from there.
Okay, and what happened when you went to the doctor?
So there was a question of whether I maybe had some sort of lung infection or allergies were getting worse, and it was an asthmatic reaction. And so they did a chest x-ray to look for any sort of infection in the lungs, sent me for a pulmonary function test. And so that was the primary focus of the work. And when that x-ray came back, they said, lungs look good, but something looks a little bit off with the heart. So we're going to do a referral into the Heart Institute to see if we can get to the bottom of this, just to play it safe.
Okay.
As a 29-year-old, I wasn't really thinking much of it. Like I said, I was, competing at a fairly high level, and so I wasn't really thinking anything of that issue. And I said, okay, I'll go do my tests, and then I'll carry on. Hopefully, we can figure out.
And I'll do my next race the next weekend.
Yeah, exactly. All this while I'm still thinking, okay, and I've still got intervals to get done this week. I've still got racing coming up, and so I need to figure out, how to fix this problem as soon as possible. And so that referral to the Heart Institute, I got an echocardiogram, essentially an ultrasound on my heart. And then soon after that, they said, okay, now we need to do a CT scan. And I'm kind of like, this seems like a lot of stuff for a non-heart issue. Like, I don't have a heart issue.
And I'm 29 years old.
Why are we doing all this stuff? And next thing you know, they're saying, look, you need to take a breath, step back, stop doing the intervals, stop thinking about any sort of racing on the horizon, because you have an ascending aortic aneurysm, and we need to figure out what's going to happen next now. So.
And then you got the diagnosis and you ended up with open heart surgery. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that was the kind of the finish line of that journey of about a year and a half. Given my age and lack of other compounding issues, there were really only a few things that would cause an ascending aortic aneurysm in a young individual, so that they needed to get to the bottom of what that may be. So a number of other tests were ordered, a number of more MRIs, genetic testing, looking for some sort of underlying factor that would have produced this aneurysm.
And as you were waiting for the open heart surgery, and you knew that this was serious, you knew that you needed to deal with this, and this wasn't just I'm getting out of breath every once in a while.
Right.
Talk to me about how you persevered through all that. What was the changes in you? How did you manage that?
Well, it certainly didn't happen overnight. In the first week I thought, okay, this will just somehow heal itself.
Right.
Just for a little bit of context, an aneurysm is a ballooning of the blood vessels. So same amount of surface material spread over a larger volume means that material is getting thinner, more delicate.
Right.
And so this ballooning of my blood vessel meant that if it got too large, it was going to tear, and then you're bleeding out, essentially. So there was a lot of danger in the intensity of activity. And so at first I thought, maybe this thing will just shrink on its own.
Take care of itself.
Quickly realize,
wishful thinking,
exactly,
which is not uncommon. It'll go away. It'll be fine. Right. It'll be fine.
But then the pendulum swung the other way, and I really came to realize the life-threatening situation I was in. And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to make it to 30 at this rate. And so there was certainly a period where I was too scared to ride the bike. I was too scared to do any sort of activity whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And the University of Ottawa Heart Institute was a great partner in helping me get back to riding. I was able to still ride a bike at a certain intensity ceiling. I just wasn't able to do things like train, things like race, things like do intervals, sprint up a hill. Like anything that was going to be a sudden change in intensity would have increased the risk factors for the aneurysm. And so there was a learning process associated with how do I continue to live while we continue to do some investigations and while this thing is learned. And so for me, perseverance was that journey between diagnosis in around June, July of 2021 and the open heart surgery in December of 2022. By the time I got to the surgery, I was back to riding full time. I was riding quite differently, but I had to learn how to live with this aneurysm, learn to explore the other aspects of the bike that I was maybe neglecting when I was looking at it
Such as?
purely through a competitive lens. I mean, just the beauty of using it as a tool to see this region that we live in.
Right.
We're blessed with a lot of natural beauty, and there's no better way than the bike to see it.
Right.
And so when I was so narrow-minded and thinking, the bike is only a tool to push myself through, find the glass ceiling of my limitations, and then break through those limitations and get to the next level. When that was taken away from me, I thought, well, this is it. I don't want the bike. I can't do anything with it. It's not a tool for me anymore. And what I came to realize is there's the community aspect of it, the friendship aspect of it, the way to appreciate what we have in this area aspect of it. And so it was that reframing and falling in love with those aspects of it that was really special. I ended up riding right up until the day before my surgery. And I ended up in 11 odd months doing more volume than I had done in any given training year before that.
So now you have come through the open heart surgery. This was back in 2022, coming through the open heart surgery, and you have become an ambassador for Project Heart, which is...
my privateer racing team. So essentially a team of one, myself. It's a blend of high performance racing and social good work related to heart health advocacy. So, as an individual, I certainly didn't think this was going to be a me problem, but when I realized it was a me problem, it was a hugely isolating experience. And what I came to realize on that journey is just how many others are also in that isolated reality. And I mean, that can be folks that are also living with aneurysms, that can be folks that have dealt with arrhythmias that have been debilitating, that can be folks that have dealt with coronary artery disease, whatever it may be in that kind of cardiovascular disease of families. If something related to their heart has caused them to be separated from what they are so passionate about, what they love, and what is a defining characteristic of who they are, it has a huge toll on the mental health. And the fact that all of us were similarly feeling that same sort of isolating story made me realize that, if just one of us can, bring that story to the public stage and try to make it a reality. I've ended up talking now to probably 150 odd other heart patients who have reached out and been like, I've just been diagnosed with something.
Right.
I'm really struggling with this journey, but to see that you've already gone through it, you've kind of highlighted the ups and downs of it. It's really giving me that qualitative side of the story is giving me a lot of hope for my own journey as well.
Wow.
Yeah. But then on the other side of it as well is for folks that haven't necessarily dealt with this, just breaking through that naivety. The amount of folks that I race with and I connect with that have always, like me, thought like, oh, this wouldn't be a me problem. Certainly not at this point in my life. Like, I'm at the top of my game. I have a resting heart rate in the 40s. Heart disease is not a me problem.
Right.
And the reality is it's, there's so many layers of complexity with it. It can be something you've inherited from birth that's unknown, which was ultimately in my case what caused the aneurysm, a very minor mutation on my aortic valve. That was there and we just never knew about it. It can be something that's developing over time because of a predisposition you may not know that you have, and when you look at the number of professionals at the top level of the sport that are dealing with these sort of symptoms and these challenges as well, again, if these world-class professionals are having challenges and they have all these proactive measures in place to protect their heart health, what happens to the rest of us who are maybe just passionate hobbyists or aspiring professionals that don't have that same kind of protective and proactive layer? We're waiting for a system for something to go wrong first before we try and fix it, or before we're actively trying to see if there's something wrong. There's little tips and just better awareness, I think, that we can bring to the table, and that's going to keep everyone's heart a little bit more happy, and it's going to keep us doing what we love for longer.
Oh, I love listening to you. I absolutely love the shifts in the mindset and the perseverance that you've demonstrated. I love that you're still back racing again.
Yeah.
And that you've had a different relationship now with your bike and what it means. Thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us. And it is a pleasure. You inspire me to be better.
It's been a heck of a journey, but I'm hopeful that it can have a positive impact. And no matter the journey that others are going through, whether it be heart related or otherwise, just, recognizing that taking this day by day, there's going to be the challenges along the way. But when you look at it at that 10,000 foot level, you can see just how far you've come and how you've taken something that's bad and managed to turn it into something good. We all maybe get dealt a hand that we don't like, but learning how to make that hand into something that's still worthwhile, I think is an important skill set to have.
Oh, I love that. High five on that. Thanks so much.
No problem.